talking about. So this is a split flow action, but it's a zone read where he actually gets a lead blocker out in front of the quarterback if there's a pull.
Hello and welcome back to episode 2 of The Angle. And right here, I've got Coach Shawn Caldwell right here beside me. Man, I really enjoyed the first show of The Angle. I felt like that we were able to break down a key aspect of what we're going to see. Obviously, we saw something that we're used to as well with the Bobby Petrino offense, and I think the whole point was we weren't getting too far away from that. But now we're going to dive in a little bit to some run schemes
Yeah.
that what we saw with Memphis under Tim Cramsey and what we're going to see now probably at Arkansas.
Yeah, and what's really cool about this is you got to think Ryan Silverfield was the run game coordinator for Mike Norvell. He also, has a background in NFL, and so a lot of the run game is Ryan Silverfield's. I
Hmm.
mean, this is all part of it. Now, he and Cramsey obviously they mesh because of the background of Cramsey, and obviously he brought him in for a reason. But man, this is some pretty cool stuff we're going to talk about today. They're going to be 80% inside zone. Is going to be a lot of what we do, a lot of zone scheme. I say 80% inside, a little bit of wide zone mixed in. It depends on his running back. We've heard him even say that. But then you're going to have a little bit of duo mixed in there, and you'll get some GT also. But we're just mainly going to focus on today inside zone and duo because there's a lot of similarities, and to the naked eye, it almost looks like it's the exact same thing.
So I know that you might be talking Chinese to some people, but I feel like if you'll hang in there with us today and you'll just listen to the breakdowns here, you're going to be able to see, but also understand. And I'll tell you what, I love it. I love it because I'm dipping into coaching a little bit too now, obviously under a lower level, but now really because I talk to you a lot, but also because I'm getting into studying football a little bit more. I can now see what Arkansas is doing. To the naked eye, to the bystander, when they watch football, basically when the ball is snapped, if they're looking at the line, which most people don't, they just look at the ball, they're just seeing a jumble. They don't see, there's no real scheme to it. It's just big guys running into each other. But really, the game of football, that's where it happens. It happens in that box. Whoever wins that box is the team that usually wins the game. But now I can look at that and say, oh, I see what they did here. And so I think that's a great thing. And I think that that's going to be a cool thing for people that really take part in this podcast to understand when they watch in the fall on Saturdays with the Razorbacks what they're going to be able to do.
Brad, one of the cool things about educating a fan base is not saying that people are dumb. Okay, it's not the intention at all. But what was really cool about what educating a fan base, it gives coaches a little bit more freedom. It gives the team a little bit more of an understanding, especially when you're trying to build something. It's going to take some time to get that scheme in, to get that stuff in, because the fact of the matter is, your common fan watches one game and we're terrible, we lost.
Right.
That's what they think. But the fact of the matter is, there's a process to this thing, and when you're trying to build it in year one, okay, it's not going to always look perfect. Year two, you hope that it's starting to go a little bit more your way. And that's one of the reasons I like doing this, because it gives people an understanding. They're like, okay, so there's a lot to this. There's a lot of timing between the running back and the line. Now, obviously, we're in a win now, society, and I want the Hogs to win as bad as anybody. But when you have your first game, obviously your first game, it's not usually a good opponent. But if you say you have a really good opponent, you play your first game, and they say they hold you to 80 yards rushing, does that mean you have a bad run game? Or does that mean that the timing between the back and the line has got to get better? Does that mean that the quarterback is not seeing all of the things that the defense is trying to
Right.
do? And he will as the year goes on, and it'll grow together. I'm not here to be an apologist for anybody. I want to come in and we're going to go brass tacks on everything that we do. But I think if people understand the game of football a little bit more, and it helps, but it also helps when you're watching the game to enjoy it a little bit more, to know that there's actually a chess match going on with the line and with the defensive and offensive coordinators and the D and O line and the linebackers. So this is why I get into this stuff, and it's why I love doing this. And I hope that this helps people get a better understanding.
What we're going to do right now is we're going to take you to the inside zone breakdown so you can understand what Arkansas will be doing on Saturdays, as you said, 80% of the time.
Okay, Brad, as we get into this, I want to show you kind of some of I've spread this out on Huddle so I can make it real easy for you guys to see what techniques I'm talking about. And I numbered the techniques with the actual number. So as we'll start from left to right, we'll look at the back side here of the inside zone. We have the 5 technique, and then you've got the 2-eye, and then you got a 3 technique to the play side. Then you have the 5 technique also to the play side. This is just your typical over front, over towards the strength of the offense, which is the Y, the sniffer in this case. Then I've got the backers labeled as a 10 and a 30. Now the 10 backer's got a 0 above it because I'm trying to show you, and the center's going to ID him as our 0-point backer. So the 0-point backer is saying that he is going to work in tandem to that 0-point backer. So as with a 2-eye, he's going to look to the backside, which we're fixing to go over the rules here in just a second. But you can look to the backside here, and once he sees that backside guy, he's going to help, and then he's going to use a helping hand, or not a hand. He's going to jam him, and then he's going to work to the 0-point backer. Which to the play side here, you've got an ISO or a one-on-one with a 3 technique and a one-on-one with a 5 technique. And so that double team on the 2-eye is going to go up to the 10. Then we're going to have the backside tackle here is going to scoop inside and get to the 30 or the -1 backer. That -1 backer is telling us that the backside is going to work to him. Okay, as we continue on, now let's look at the base rules by definition of covered, uncovered lineman. A covered lineman is a defender that is aligned head up or to the inside shoulder or the play side gap. Uncovered lineman is no defenders directly over you. You have an open gap or a defender to your backside. So let's look at this from left to right. When you're looking at the left tackle here, he's got a 5 technique outside him. We're running the inside zone to the right. Yeah, so when you're thinking in that mindset, he's uncovered because he would have somebody on his outside shade, but we're running the play to the right. So he knows by rule, I'm going to work to the -1. Okay, then you go over to the left guard and you have a 2-eye. Well, the 2-eye is telling him because we're running the play to the right that he is a covered lineman. So because he's a covered lineman, he is going to take a step to the crotch of the 2-eye and work there, and then he's going to get some help to the inside of the center. Now, it's not a true double team. The center is just going to jam inside. Okay, this clip shows this technique that I was talking about, and you can see 52 right here is slamming his shoulder into that 2-eye and with his eyes to the 0-point backer so he can work that tandem. This takes a lot of reps in practice to get that timing right, but once it does, this is how you master the inside zone. Okay, so now just to go over and finish the covered, uncovered look. When you start from the center, we've already talked about him and his techniques. So now go back to the right side here where you got your first covered lineman by the 3 technique because by the rules, a covered lineman is anyone who is aligned head up or inside shoulder or to the play side gap. So he is to the play side gap. So we know that he is covered by rule. Then your next covered lineman is the 5 technique. That 5 technique is, or the tackle is covered up by the 5 technique. And as we're working play side, they're looking to get lateral movement on those 2 play side techniques. Okay, just finishing up the rules here. I color coded the play side and back side of this. We're not going to get too much more into the rules because we kind of went over them. I do want you to just see the identifier rules of the point backer there, the 0-point backer or the mic ID. And then you've got your first play side backer is always going to be your +1. So in a 4-2 box, obviously the +1 would be outside shade of that. And if we're working in that direction, then that's going to be who you're going to RPO. Now, the over here you'll see the nickel Sam is over here in the green. he is following the Y in this stack look. So he is actually not even in this, but we would RPO him because he's outside the box. But the negative one backer is always going to be your first weak side backer inside. So after the center gets his ID, gets his call, identifies the 0 point backer, A basically is telling everybody, I'm working to him. And so now that tells the backside or the backside tackle in this situation that he is working to the -1. And then the Y is scooping for the backside 5. Okay, so now if they put the 3 technique to the Y and to the back, or in this case to the Y, the strength of the formation, this will be your standard over. Well, then it changes up the rules just a little bit. If we're still running the inside zone to the right, you're going to get 2 double teams, which is interesting enough. This is what it's going to look like when we run duo, and what we're going to break down here in just a little bit. But you can see that because of that, they're getting this lateral movement, but they're gonna work. The backside's gonna work to the -1. The front side combo or the ace is gonna work to the 0. And so with all this, this is the basic rules of inside zone. And now that we got the basic rules covered, let's go to some video clips here. So here we go. We're going to look at this, and we're going to break this down. This is the San Francisco 49ers running inside zone against the Carolina Panthers. And so um, as we get into this, uh, I want to show you basically, let's think about the rules that we just went over. So this play is going to the left, okay? So this is designed to go to the left. So by rule, okay, you got to see the covered, uncovered guy. So right here, basically because of this step, he is going to be stepping to that gap. You've got a covered. Okay, he's got a covered, and these two are working for here. So basically, they are working with these two. He's actually got a solo. Okay, he might jam inside and work up. He's going to scoop that, and then he's working there. Okay, the way the 49ers do it a lot of times is they will always add somebody extra in. Probably looking at this tight end coming across right here and handling the backside end. So let's go ahead and let's talk through this. They're motioning him over. He's got the in. There's the check off, and now you'll start to see. See, there was 67 right there. The center is giving that help with that 2-eye right there. He helps, as you see right there. His eyes are working back inside. The number 63 is doing what's called a knockoff technique. He is knocking him off, taking over. And so you can see one of the key identifiers, and we didn't really get into this, Brad, but this is one of the key identifiers of inside zone. You can always look at the back. If the back is going the same direction as the line is blocking, that is a key identifier that is inside zone versus a duo, or versus this what we're fixing to see. But as you can see right here, once again, they work this double team, or he just basically he's helping. 63's taking over, and then they're working to the backer. And once again, you look at this track, you look at their tracks. 68 is ISOing right here. Okay, these two are working what's called a tray. Okay, and most people call this a tray. If they were doubling, it would be an ace. If they were doubling, it would be a deuce. And so because they're doubling, it's called a tray. So once again, you can see it. Back is running the same direction, looking to cut back. And that's just a great example right there of an inside zone. And it's a very, the one thing about it, a lot of people think that inside zone's a finesse play. But as you go back and look at this clip, this is not anything but a finesse play. This is a lateral displacement of the defensive line. They are laterally displacing, looking for the running back to show some patience, and he is actually reading green grass. So when he sees that green grass, he puts his foot in the ground and gets north and south. We just looked at a little bit of the San Francisco 49ers running inside zone from under center. And what's really cool about watching teams running from under center, the back is kind of the identifier there. It's so easy to identify because the back's got kind of a one-way go. In this press box angle Ole Miss Kentucky game from this season, you're going to start to see how the base rules apply no matter what Kentucky does. And this is why I picked this clip. It's a really cool example of guys sticking to their rules and no matter what ends up blocking this up really well. So essentially what you have here is Kentucky's running a tight front. You have a 4-eye right here, you have a 0, and you have a 4-eye. Okay. Then your Mike backer or your 0-point backer, who the center would identify as this, would make him the +1 since this is running this play to the left. Okay. Because of that, this is actually your -1, but because he's outside the box, he's not accounted for. So they essentially have a 3-2 box. All right. So as we see here, what ends up happening as we take a slow-mo look right here, they step in tandem like they should. Now, these two right here, the center and the backside guard, are responsible for the Mike or the Mac in this case, the 0. Okay, they're responsible for him, and then these two are responsible for these two. So what Kentucky actually does here, they run a game and essentially get a 4-man pressure, okay, out of this 3-2 look. This backer right here is blitzing essentially as a 3 technique. And as you see, this starts to unfold. The 4-eye end goes to the outside as a 5. He's blitzing as a 3. He's your backside, basically like a 2-eye. And then here's your backside 5 as he bounces outside. So he slants away, and that creates this backer going, and now you've got a 4-man pressure. Well, because of, like we showed you earlier, the base rules of the blocking scheme, this does not confuse Ole Miss at all. And what ends up happening is they know their guys and who they're responsible for. Now, as this 0 technique, because the rule of thumb is if I've got a head-up guy and I'm covered, he's mine. If he goes away from me and I'm keeping my zone steps there, it turns into the same exact look that we have shown several times today with that jam technique back into the backside, and then he works up to the 0. So what ends up happening here is you see the center as he jams him back opposite way he wants to go. The guard takes him over, which unfortunately this is Patrick Kudus, a former Razorback, but he goes in there. Now, as you see, he's basically singled up on the 3. He's basically singled up on the 5. And the way they're taking care of this backside end is with the split action that the tight end comes across and takes him. So again, let's look at the result of this. So he comes in, they block it up. They're sticking according to their rules. As you see, it's easy to identify because they're all stepping to the left in unison. The back is going the same direction as they're going in unison. And he is looking for a hole to bounce or to cut or to bang. So bounce would be the back going out. Bang means he's going to cut it up, and then to bend, he cuts it back. That's basically what you're teaching any running back that is running his track, again, the inside zone. So as you see, he bursts this. The blast. He hits straight up. You've got the center who is worked up to the 0-point backer. And now it's just a foot race. And, Lacey's going to make a lot of people miss in open space. And that's what a good running back's going to do. Now let's take a look here. So now here is the end zone angle, the same place. So you see these two right here are responsible for him as he's basically in a stack, and they're just going to unfold it whichever direction he goes. Then you've got a combo here that's essentially going to go to this backer. This tight end is basically got the end away, and then he's going to scoop up. And if this middle linebacker or the Mac goes this way, then obviously Williams here is going to cut him off. As you can see here, as the play unfolds, there it is. They've stepped in. This 0 has stepped away. Kudus has taken him over. Now he's going there to seal. He's coming across to seal this in. He's going up. So either way, this this Mac backer's going, he's cut off either direction. And so now you see Lacey just put his foot in the ground and bang, there it is.
Well, that was a great breakdown of the inside zone run. And of course, we know that's a staple not only of Arkansas, but across football now. A very popular play. In fact, maybe the most popular play out there right now. But now we're going to go to duo. And Shawn, we've talked here before just a little bit, and I think this is going to be an interesting thing to point out what looks like inside zone, but really this is another type of run, another type of scheme.
Football's a game of trends. And duo is one of the trendy new run plays that a lot of people are doing because it looks like inside zone. And what's exciting about duo is it's a physical running attack that's downhill, vertical displacement. And it's exciting to watch as a football guy because it's basically power without a pull. I mean, you're looking for two double teams. You're looking to get vertical displacement with at least a minimum of two double teams. Sometimes it can be three, depending on your personnel groupings. But duos is a great play to counter
Hmm.
a lot of people's base run game. So Ole Miss, their base run game is inside zone, and they RPO off of it. They don't run a lot of duo there, or they didn't under Lane Kiffin. But teams like Oregon, with Will Stein, who we're actually going to see some of their clips. They're a big duo team. They run a lot of duo because they also run a lot of wide zone. The Rams run a lot of duo because they run a lot of wide zone. And so to the naked eye, it looks like teams are running wide zone and inside zone, but really, once you identify it, it's actually completely opposite. And the rules are just like it would be if you was running a power counter, um, buck sweep type game where it's gap down backer. And so we're going to get into it. Look.
All right, so stay tuned with us as we go into our breakdown of duo.
So real quick, Brad, I want to talk to you about the rules of the duo run. If um, if a gap is covered, down block the defender in that gap. If the gap is clear or uncovered, double team the first defender on play side, working vertically to the second level linebacker. Then your play side tight end and fullback. And the reason why we put that in there is because most of the time you're going to run duo out of 11 personnel. Most of the time, 11 or even 21 personnel. You're going to have a tight end attached most of the time. They're often responsible for kicking out the last unblocked defender in man on the line of scrimmage, or washing them down if beaten inside. And the reason why we're saying that's because the running back is going to be able to, with his identifier, is going to read that guy. And then the terminology that most will use in this is gap down buddy instead of gap down backer. So, with that being said, I want to get into a breakdown to show you what gap down buddy looks like. So, let's just use the left tackle. If the left tackle and gap down backer is blocking his rules to the three technique, his track is to the backside backer. But because the three technique is in his gap, he's got that first. So he's got the gap, and then this guard would duo or tandem because of the 2-eye away from him, because he's got a shaded three technique on him. They're going to double to the backside backer. Okay, that is gap down backer rules. But the difference in gap down buddy versus gap down backer is there's no puller. Remember, because if this was power, there'd be a puller to this mic as we're blocking this down, down, and with the gap down buddy, now they block together, okay, to the nearest, by the rule, the first defender on the play side working vertically to the second level. Okay, so right here is where he's going to go to because they've got to replace that puller. So he takes this. So now the center works here, and the guy who would have been the puller in power is going to double with him on that 2-eye, and then they work to there. So then you get a scoop from the backside in, and you get a kick out here. That is essentially the gap down buddy rules instead of a gap down backer. It's how it replaces. So with the running backs track, this is what makes it unique and is the essential identifier, if you will, of the duo versus inside zone. An inside zone play, he might get it this way and then cut back looking for a bounce, a blast, or a bend. But on a duo run, he's going to sidestep out. He's going to go straight downhill, and he's looking to get vertical based on the read of the nearest backer to the backside of the play. So he's going to read the first backside backer, okay? So he's going to hit this. If this might, or the Mac, if he folds inside, then what ends up happening is you get a bounce a lot of times from the running back. But if this Mac backer works over top here, and let's say he scrapes over top, now it's just straight downhill run. But if this Mac backer stays there, once again, he comes inside, he is fitting his A gap, and then now you have a bounce from the backer. And that is just the basic rules of duo. Here we're looking at the Rams playing the 49ers, and you're going to see a really good example of this duo blocking. Okay, so right here you've got a 2-eye, okay, and then you've got a 3 right here set towards the offensive strength. So this is a formation that the Rams love to use. It's basically a 12 personnel. They have 2 tight ends on the field. They use it in a wing set. And they're going to bring a receiver in motion. When they're going to bring a receiver in motion, it's going to be to move the linebackers into a position where they want it, and it's easier for them to break down the and understand where their movement is going to take them as far as the blocking scheme goes. So let's watch this play unfold. So here they're getting set up and they're getting into their shift. Stafford is doing a pre-snap kill call, which is typically means that he's changing and flipping the side according to the strength of the formation. So now here comes the motion. The linebackers shift over. Let's freeze it. So now in this, you're going to see this gap down look because the back is hitting to the right. They're blocking to the left. So if you watch, the center and the left guard work in tandem to this backer that's going to eventually shift over. So let's take that off because that won't. There we go. All right, so let's get it over. Here's the shift. All right, so these two are going to work to here. Okay. These two are going to work to this backer, and these two essentially are going to work to here. So now this is duo. And now he has a solo block out here, and he's kicking out to the left. Okay, so now with that being said, let's look at how this unfolds. There is an example of 2, 3 really good double teams. Okay, so there's double team number 1. There's the second double team. Love how their eyes are on the backer. And then here is the third double team. And you look, these guys' eyes are on this backer. These guys' eyes are on Fred Warner here. And then this backside, these 2 tight ends are setting with their eyes on the backer to their side. So now the other part of this that is kind of a dead giveaway of duo versus inside zone. As he takes the handoff, now his key is this backer right here. If this backer folds inside, he's going to put his foot in the ground and get outside. If this backer then stays here, he's going to put his foot in the ground and get north and south. They've got the cutoff here. They've got the cutoff here. Now, on this clip, this actually shows a really, really good way to play the duo run by this backer because he plays this exceptionally well. But let's go ahead and look at this. As he goes through here, this backer basically stones the tight end, and he basically is giving him, he's 2-gapping right here. And now the running back has to make, well, the running back sees it straight ahead and he works off of it, makes a good play. But as you see, I mean, he's gained on this run. He's picking up 4 to 5 yards on this, and he, makes contact about 2 and drives his feet. This is a really good example of a duo run, and from a butt shot on under center by that the Rams were able to run here, and this really gives us a good look. I want to take a look at um, the duo play ran by Oregon here in this year's playoffs. And what I like about this is, kind of like with inside zone, they can, no matter what the front does, no matter if they're running games like we saw when we looked at the Ole Miss play, or in this particular instance here, where they're going to do something just a little bit different, but it's still duo. It's still run with the same set of rules, and the back is still going to hit the same track. But they show how this play is actually a nasty run play, a powerful part of the run game. And so let's get into it. So we first look at this. You see a standard over front. There's they've set the 3 to the back, the 2 eyes away. So this bubble right here that's created, this linebacker is responsible for this bubble. And so, just pretty standard front. Now, what they're trying to do here, JMU, it looks like they're trying to set up some kind of game or some kind of stunt to try to stop the Oregon run game. But this shows a unique way to block this. Coach Stein has been known for his running of duo all throughout his career as the OC at Oregon. Duo has been one of their primary run plays. So let's get into this. So here we go. So the back's read is this outside linebacker, just like always, because the play is blocked to the right. And because of that, the back is going to hit this track downhill. He's looking to either hit it or bounce it. That's the only two. There's really never a pure just cutback. So it's kind of against the flow. So let's watch what happens. So as we see this setup, they're almost showing inside zone here with the way they're blocking. So this backer and this end and these linemen are looking at the technique or the steps of they're reading the steps of the defense or the offensive line. So they may try to backdoor it, different things. So what Oregon does is they set this up so well. He engages the left guard engages this 3 technique, who is stunted, who is trying to cross face, and the tight end here has engaged this 9 technique, if you will. So what happens is as we go on forward, the center and the left tackle are stepping zone step, and then they crack back into a duo look. And as you see, the timing is phenomenal. And this this kid gets taken for a ride right here. This 3 technique, as he starts off, he may even be. I mean, you call him a 3. You could actually say he's maybe more of a heavy 2. But you watch this. I mean, this is he's crossing face, and what a great job right here by 72 and 76. And 72 absolutely destroys this defensive tackle right here. And so, but this is just your standard duo. Double here, double here. Now you see the back. This is the giveaway. The back is going to hit this. He's watching this outside backer who's looping around. So now his read, he's not crossing face like he would if he was going to run zone, get to here, and then look to cut back. He's hitting this straight downhill. Of course, now he's just using vision, and there's where he's getting north and south, and that's the indicator. And you see he's not trying to bend it. He's not trying to bow it. He's just running this ball straight downhill and getting north and south for a physical 8-9 yard gain. And once again, this is just a really well set up blocked play that is duo, it gives the allure of a inside zone. But the key to duo is there's 2 double teams right here and right here. That's the 2 double teams, and then we don't want the back to go here to cut back. We want him straight downhill to look to bounce. Well, his read His read here is this outside linebacker. And as you see, he is coming over the top, looping to the outside. The end's trying to get inside. So this is his key. The back sees this. He immediately knows I'm getting north. And as soon as he does, of course, you see as they destroy this defensive tackle here, so now his path he has to bend it back just a little bit more than he normally would. But again, he's getting back on his track, getting north and south, running physical. What a great look right here of a duo run that is just blocked a little different, but yet based on their rules, they're doing the same thing. They get the gap down backer look. They know but here's their gap. They're taking their gap. I've got him. He's stepping here. He's got a free step. But if you see, he could work to this backside backer, yes. But they've got this locked up. So they're just both going to crack back due to the box. And this was a rule this was just a wrinkle, I guess you could say, that was put in by Coach Stein. And what a great way to block this up. Okay, Brad. So here we go. We're gonna see if we can, based on the teachings and based on what I showed you today, I want to see if you can identify the differences here. So this is a 2-by-2 look, 11 personnel. You got tight end attached here on the near side. Okay, so as we roll the clip, let's start to look at and find out if that just by looking you can identify which this is. Okay, so they're motioning the receiver in to get an extra hat, to get an extra number. Okay. Now, based on this, okay, do you see the footwork? Do you see the back? Okay, now here just momentarily, we're going to get to see an end zone shot. And when we see the end zone shot, I want you to really start to look at the linemen. Are they vertically pushing or are they horizontally pushing? And then I want you to look at the back. Is the back on the right track? I want you to look at the identifiers that we talked about and see just if you can identify it when it comes up to this second shot here that's coming up on this end zone cam. So here we go. What do you think?
Well, just looking at the linemen, it looks like we've got two double teams. Also, the back is going to the same side. Looking like he's identifying the linebacker, cutting off the linebacker there. So this looks like duo to me.
Well, Brad, you're absolutely right. This actually is duo, and if you can roll it back just a shade here, you'll be able to see where, in all honesty, the defensive lineman for Tulane is running a twist. So the initial start of the double team gets changed, and then the guard just starts to work up to the next level, and then pins the linebacker in the back. But like you said, he didn't cross face. He didn't go with the flow. He went against the flow of the line because the line was blocking to the right and he hit it to the left. Good job, man. Okay, you got the first one right. Let's see if you can identify this one. This is a play against USF.
All right, just looking here, I'm seeing double teams again. You're seeing the wham type of concept, straight downhill run. We're not crossing the face. So to me, this looks like duo once again.
Well, on this one, this is actually inside zone. And if you go back, I'll be able to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, as we pull this back, Brad, you can see the inside zone. So he is actually going to crossface, but look at the line. They are horizontally moving. He is, when you see his foot in the ground, he crosses face right there, and then he looks to bend it back. There's their cutback. But the key is the offensive line is horizontally displacing the line instead of vertically displacing the defensive line.
Yeah, I can see that now as you point that out. Another key identifier, and I think we can get into this in just a second, is the quarterback. And my point about the quarterback is that when you're running zone read, you can watch the quarterback as he's ready to pull it and go out the backside.
Yeah, you're right. But in this particular case, this is a split flow action that Y is coming across and taking that outside backer. Now, what it could have been where his eyes were, there could have been an RPO on the backside, which is very common tie-in with the inside zone.
So we just got done looking at the duo and the inside zone, and my untrained football eye wasn't quite ready for it just yet. but you were able to help me through it.
Yeah, again, that's an easy mistake a lot of people make because they do look a lot they have a lot of similarities. And we talked about that throughout this whole thing. But the way I want to end this is I want to bring this to Hog fans real time here. The Cramsey Silverfield offense is led the AAC in scoring and on yards for several years, and they've been up at the top nationally in offensive production. Well, you're not doing that by sustaining long drives consistently over and over and over again. You got to have some explosives in there. The same thing Bobby Petrino was known for while he was here. And really, when even Kendall Briles, when we were having a lot of success under him, it was more of the explosive play and getting your playmakers the ball in space. And we're going to show this clip here, and this is going to end up being, it's going to kind of be a gut punch to a lot of Hog fans. I know it is to me. And, this is the game, essentially the game winning play is what it ended up being. And this is uh, a a missed tackle launched it, but I want to see if real time without any pausing or any going back, see if you can identify which one this is. That's what you got to do. So based on that, and we watch this again, what do you think this is?
So as I'm looking at this in full speed in real time, I will tell you that number one, it looks very fast to me. The second thing that I'm looking at, I feel like I'm seeing a horizontal push from the line, which tells me that it's a zone read play there, that he's going out the backside, a split flow look there, and of course they're able to create a big play off of it.
Yeah, and if there's any way to back this up, what I want to show you, this is another one of those Bobby Petrino things that you're talking about. So this is a split flow action, but it's a zone read where he actually gets a lead blocker out in front of the quarterback if there's a pull. And you saw Taylor Green do that a lot under Bobby Petrino. But Brad, think about this. That cutback that we talked about on the inside zone. Taylor, this was not a pull for Lewis. This was actually a give. But it's still, as you see, the tight end got out in front as a lead blocker. So regardless of the fact you've got a lead blocker out in front, whether it's a pull or a give read, and this time it's a give. So he's the lead blocker there for what I like to call the RBI block or the run batted in block right here. So this is just a well schemed out play that ended up beating the Razorbacks based on one missed tackle, which we saw that all year.
Well, Sean, I feel like, again, you've done a great job of breaking down what I feel like Arkansas fans will be able to see here in the fall. And that's the point of what we're doing here is to introduce them to some of the new. But what we've seen so far is really it's not new at all. It's actually very similar to what Bobby Petrino has run here at Arkansas. And I know we keep going back to that, Sean, but the thing is that if you have a brain at all, you really want that Bobby Petrino offense. I know things didn't work out that well this year, but you still look at the offensive numbers, and they were really off the charts. They were high. In fact, this year was an anomaly in so many senses for the fact that the offense was so good, but yet turnovers forced them back, and
Won 2 games.
and they won 2 games. I mean, some people were saying they're the best two-win team of all time and all that. I don't know what you get for that, but whatever it is, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, Arkansas doesn't seem to be taking a step back as far as scheme goes. We don't know what's going to happen on the field, but as far as the scheme seems solid.
Yeah, and it will. And we're given a lot of this information, and the fact of the matter is a lot of this we're not going to actually know until spring, when the new roster is compiled. Once we get through the portal season, which that'll be a fun show in and of itself to start looking at video of some of these guys and piecing in some of these things that we do know. But based on interviews and things like that, I've heard Coach Cramsey and I've heard Coach Silverfield say, we've had better running backs at running outside zone or stretch than inside zone, but they're still going to have that as a big staple in the offense. They're just going to fit it to their personnel. And, that's something that I think that you talk about Bobby Petrino, you talk about Kendall Briles, you talk about, some of your best OCs around the nation. I mean, we could get into Jeff Levy when he was at Oklahoma. Now he's the head coach at Mississippi State. Your really good offensive minds have a gift to fit their offense based to the personnel that they have. Yes, in college they recruit to that system a lot of times when they're guys that are set in that. But if you even think about it, Gus Malzahn times when he was at Tulsa, his offense was setting national records throwing the football. When he was at Arkansas, it was mostly a wildcat offense. Then he went to Auburn, and it became what you saw with Nick Marshall and with Cam Newton. It was more of that zone read, quarterback run, vertical pass, vertical shot type of offense. Your best OCs fit it to their personnel. And if KJ Jackson is your quarterback, well, you know what he can do a little bit. We got to see towards the end of the season with the Texas game, and then obviously the Missouri game when he was when that only touchdown drive that we had, we were there. If you remember, he threw some really good footballs, and that touchdown he threw right over top of the linebacker and fit it in a perfect spot. And I just feel like based on that, you don't know who he's going to get out of the portal. He may get a zone read guy. He may get somebody else. He may not get anybody out of the portal. Based on who the starter will be and based on our running backs and everything, I really believe that we'll know a lot past the spring. But I will say this in the last thought based on what he has done with the retention of the offensive line, I think the guys that he is bringing back, without a doubt, fit these two schemes that we talked about a lot. Inside zone, duo, these kind of things fit the system. Now we just got to get the back to do it. And I will say this, uh, whatever your thoughts are on the young man or not, Braylon Russell is going to be a very good and was under Bobby Petrino a very good inside zone runner.
Yeah. Well, we're obviously glad for talented players to stay. I mean, Braylon's had his own issues. It's really not for, at least on this part of the show, this show, there's no reason to comment on that because that's not what this show is about. But with that being said, you got to have talented players. At the end of the day. You've got retention on the offensive line. You've got retention really across the board. That's been a problem with Arkansas for a while. I think it's caused some of the issues that we see.
Hmm.
And now you're seeing at least some sort of retention coming back. Coach Silverfield he seems to be confident in being able to build a team to win. He's got plenty of spots for the portal, especially this year with the scholarships going to 105.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is a perfect storm. I'm not saying that Arkansas is going to win 10 games next year. I do think that you're going to see improvement. With the SEC, it's always schedule is really a big factor in what happens, especially with the Razorbacks. With that said, you don't see Arkansas on the top 4 and 5 as far as the toughest schedules, to play and all that stuff. So it seems to be setting up okay. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be what's going to happen on
Yeah.
the field.
Well, the good news is, we get Vanderbilt back on the schedule coming off their best season
Right,
in school history. This schedule will be daunting again.
right,
The thing that people need to understand, and if you're talking expectation, you don't want to get to, oh man, they're going to win 10 games. I mean, yes, every fan wants that hope, but we won two ball games this year.
right.
If we go to, we win 6 or 7 games, that's a phenomenal year. And that is not bashing the program. That's a phenomenal year. Now, the good thing about college football is, and I think this is a great a segue to end on. The great thing about college football, and Indiana's proven it, and Vanderbilt's
Yeah,
proven it. If you hit the right guys in the portal and with the recruiting class that we brought in, it wasn't a big one, but guys like Anthony Kennedy Jr., Danny Beal, guys like that give us something we hadn't had in a long time.
right.
But if you do that, you have an opportunity to flip the thing faster than you think.
Well, that'd be great. I think that's what we're all looking forward to. We all want to see Arkansas do well, and that's the hope. I mean, that's why they brought in a new head coach for that very reason to change the direction, to change the tempo of the program, and to help this team make Arkansas proud again. And I think that there are a lot of vibes right now that are toward 1998. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen by any means. I mean, it would be phenomenal if it did. But with that said, I feel like that there are some good vibes there. And, hopefully Arkansas will be able to step in and do well. We're going to find out pretty soon. The portal is opening. And, we're going to find out what kind of commitment the Razorbacks have to making a step forward.
And one last thing, that we've kind of got an idea now of the staff. A future show I think will be a good one. Will be when we start breaking down some of the Ron Roberts stuff.
Yeah.
Ron Roberts, is going to bring in
Shows.
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 Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's lots of shows that you can get out of
Right.
Ron Roberts. So, but that's going to be some interesting things. And this is perfect timing to do all this because spring football is going to be closer than you think, and all this stuff is leading into spring football,
Right.
and it's going to be something that we can all watch for.
All right. So I want to say this. Bear with us a little bit about how we're trying to figure out how to make this work. Number one, we talked about joining. So what we're going to do is those that have joined, and that's different than subscribing. That's literally clicking the join button underneath this video here. It'll be right down here. Um, that is a way for you to help us help Coach Caldwell do this more in the future, because his wife wants to know. Okay, she wants to know how this is all going to work in their favor. So, with that being said, what we're going to do, new episodes are going to come to those that join. We will eventually drop the episodes into the public as well. But what you're going to get with the joining is this, and this is something that we talked about, is live streaming, where you can ask questions about what is going on. I think probably during spring football, probably a great time to kind of get in here and do that, where we'll sit down and just kind of break down the meat and potatoes of what we're trying to find out about the new Ryan Silverfield era here at Arkansas. So live streaming is going to be a part of that. Also, getting the new episodes quicker. That's also going to be a part of that. And again, just bear with us. We're trying to figure this part out. I mean, I really wish that I had a magic wand that could do it right. But with the Arkansas Sports Network, it has been trial and error all the way through. So we're working on it again. But we appreciate Shawn for doing this. We are excited about breaking down what is to come here with the Ryan Silverfield era here at Arkansas. So again, we want to encourage you to join. Make sure that if you do that, you got to click the subscribe button and the join button, and we'll talk about live streaming in the future. Right now, there's no reason to live stream, at least right now. Maybe we can get a time where there's enough questions that are going out that we can sit down and do that and make it worth our time and our while. So, with that said, again, thank you. Yes.
And if you do have questions, I know a lot of people are follow us off the message boards.
Yes.
If you do have questions, please feel free to inbox me on there, and I'll be glad to answer them. I'm still going to do the breakdowns on the board, so I'll be glad to answer those. And if it's a show that you want to watch, if
Yes.
it's something that you're interested in us doing on this and doing the breakdown and things you want to know that would make a whole show, please inbox me your thoughts and your ideas, and I'll be glad to do it.
Let me add this too, real quick. Thanks to Trey Biddy and to Danny West and the folks over at 247 Sports for allowing us to post that over there. I know that you've been doing those breakdowns for quite a while now. And I know that, when you get into this field, there's a lot of crossover. There's a lot of territorialism that goes on. We're definitely not trying to step on anything that Trey and Danny are doing. They're the best.
They are.
They are the absolute best at what they do. So, anyway, with that said, I think we got to wrap this up again. Thank you for joining us again, and again, think about joining us on the Arkansas Sports Network for the special content that you'll get coming up, um, probably a little bit later in the spring sometime here when we actually have some meat and potatoes to talk about. And then there's some things that we're talking about trying to do in the season as well, to try to make this worth your while. Plus, you'll also get all the content that we get on the Arkansas Sports Network with high school. We got the Arkansas Sports Network Classic coming up, where we've got basketball wall to wall, 6 games on Saturday, January the 3rd. So, I mean, it is going to be a lot of fun, and I think we'll make it worth your while. So, make sure that you hit that join button. Again, Shawn, I'm Brad. We're the Caldwell, not brothers, but we're close. That said, we appreciate you joining us, and we'll be back again here in the very near future.